Hi guys, Bill again. Well, happy Father's Day. Maybe not such a happy Men's Health Week. But 15 years ago, a whole bunch of people from 6 major health organisations around the world, they signed the Vienna Declaration. Now, its main goals were recognising men's health is a critical issue and that there are health issues which only affect men. Promoting the awareness of a men's approach to health, changing the way that healthcare is provided to be more sensitive towards men's needs, creating school and community programmes which target boys and young men, and connecting health and social policies to better pursue men's health goals. One of the things that the forum did was they dedicated the week leading up to and including Father's Day as one in which all of these organisations and any affiliated to them would try and highlight the serious problems and difficulties that are faced by men. And as far as I can see, this year it's fallen flat on its fucking arse, here in the UK at least. The UK being one of the biggest supporters of the original declaration. The tabloids have pretty much ignored it. The media in general just seem blissfully unaware, and there isn't even a murmur in government circles. Quelle surprise. It's been quite a depressing week all around, to be honest. I mean, right here on YouTube, some arsewipe thought that Phil Mason's dad being seriously ill, potentially dying of cancer, would be a great subject for satire. Can't even begin to describe how disgusted I am by that. It's not just Phil's dad that's dying of cancer. I don't find it funny. I don't see any equivalence at all between that and anything that Phil's YouTube persona, Thunderfoot, has ever covered. Now, there's no Thunderfoot videos calling out female cancer sufferers. The only condition that he's ever commented on was calling out some Twitter non-entity claiming that she had post-traumatic stress disorder from reading some fucking tweets. If you don't think that shite deserves a good verbal kicking, then you really need to take a long, hard look at your worldview. Now, in my own world, I'm quite lucky. I'm lucky enough that I work in government service these days. Now, at least the head shed sent out a memo at the start of the week highlighting the Men's Health Week, which was nice of them. However, while we're constantly assailed by reminders about women's health, E&D updates pointing out that there are good reasons why our female workmates might have poorer attendance, and there's lots of updates on the job sites, volunteers and what they're doing for women's charities. This week there was a conspicuous silence about Men's Health Week. Now, come Thursday, some of the girls had set up a stand highlighting cancer concerns. You know, we've got like an entry foyer into the building. There's a wee desk there. The managers are quite generous. They gave the girls some time off out of the office so that they could make sure that the stand had a volunteer presence there all the way through the working day. And it's great. It really is great that they were allowed to do it, and I fully support their efforts. However, it is really telling that they concentrated on cervical cancer with a few general pointers on women's health in what was supposed to be Men's Health Week. Now, maybe you're thinking that's fair enough. Maybe you're thinking, you're under the impression that, well, women suffer more from cancer. And I'd understand that. It certainly seems that way. The media almost exclusively concentrate on female risk and female suffering. But you'd be wrong. The National Health Service report that ONAS, the Office for National Statistics, have compiled some figures on this, and they show more men diagnosed with cancer and a much higher mortality rate amongst men. It ran to about 137% of female mortality between 2008 to 2010. More recent figures do show a drop in cancer deaths, but as far as I can see from some calculations I've run off NHS and various cancer sites pages, there's no real change to the ratio. It's worth stating, if you live outside of the UK, that the ONS have changed the way that they do business since 2010. The statistics aren't quite as readily available as they used to be. And just to put the icing on the whole layer cake, I found this next to my Father's Day cards. Now, I'm not sure how much the scanner caught or how it's showing on your monitor. Basically, hubby hid some Harridan cigarettes, so she'd beaten to death. The question that comes straight to mind is how often had she kicked the shite out of that poor man before? I mean, how often and how badly had she assaulted the poor fella in the past that she didn't notice the damage that she was doing to him this time around? I've got a wee story for you. The last fist fight I had in school was with a kid that was chucking stones at me. Now that was common enough at the time in the place where I used to stay. Now I flashed, I ran him down and I knuckled the wee bastard. He was lying on the deck, I was fucking furious and I was all set for giving him a proper kicking. And you know the kind of thing, you know, plenty of penalty kicks round about the groin and into the small of the back. You know, enough to leave a cunt pissing blood for a few days. Do enough damage for him and anybody who's watching the spectacle to really, really not want to fuck around with me a second time. Yeah, I know. In-betweeners in the west of Scotland aren't quite as cute and cuddly as the English lads you see on the telly. But hey ho. Thing is, something just wasn't right. The lad wasn't making much of an effort to protect himself and he wasn't trying to get up and run off. Even though I was seeing red, even although I was so angry, I wanted to leave that kid unable to walk straight for a week. I could see he was hurt. Yeah. I booted his school bag and I stormed off home instead. I mean, we were about 16, 17 at the time. I'm pretty glad I did. You see, it turned out this kid had a calcium deficiency. Now, it might explain why he was a bit daft and why he thought it was a good idea to go around chucking rocks at other kids. When I punched him, I fractured his skull. He was concussed before he even reached the ground. Now, if I'd gone stamping all over him, I could have broken his ribs, I could have fractured his pelvis, I might even have damaged his back. Fucking hell, I am so glad I didn't. I mean, I wanted to hurt him, don't get me wrong. I wanted to hurt him alright. I wanted to hurt him so bad that he would never ever throw stones at me or my brother or my sister again. But I didn't want to cripple him. And surely that's just basic human nature. I mean, we're not born to be killers. We can kill people, we can if we have to. But surely somewhere inside of us there's a safety switch, some part of us that realises enough is enough. Let's get back to Sandra Bruce. How many times do you think she's done this before? I mean, how often has she left that man unable to walk before? How badly did she hurt him in the past that she didn't realise that this time she was actually going to kill him? Back in the 90s, charges were dropped against her when she allegedly assaulted Mr. Bruce's son. I'd be very interested to know what the reasons for dropping those charges were. Thing is, if she was guilty of the earlier assault, then maybe some kind of punishment or rehabilitation action back then could have saved Mr. Bruce's life back now. Anyway, you can imagine just how depressed I was by the time I headed for the coast this morning. I'm in a pretty black mood, but you know what? It's amazing. Just seeing my dad with his grandsons, it changed everything. You ever see the sun burn through the clouds on one of them really wet, dank, miserable days? You know, you ever feel the way that lifts you? I suddenly realised right about then that just how lucky I was to still have my father. And from that, guys, I've just got to send out a heartfelt thank you to all of the fathers watching this. Guys, you're the best. You really are. Happy Father's Day. Laters, guys.